Last week on Your World with Creflo, you saw Walt, a man who underwent not just one, but two sex change operations in an effort to find the love and acceptance that he so desperately sought. And you heard Creflo Dollar affirm Walt's identity in the Lord and reassure him of the complete acceptance and overwhelming love God has for Walt and for you.
So by the time I hit 38 years old, I'm thinking, man, I from all I can see, I should change genders to resolve the problem. And then it wasn't long after that you start going, really? So I'm thinking my world had collapsed. I went to a church. I went into the pastor and I sat down in the church. I'm Laura at the time. I'm going into recovery. I'm Laura Jensen. I lived that way for 8 years. And I said, "You're not going to try to change me, are you?" Thinking I didn't want him to pressure me to go back to being Walt. He kind of rolled back in his big chair and he looked at me and says, "No," he said, "my job is to love you. God's job is to change you."
Yeah. That's the thing about it. So many people think that, God's waiting on you to be this perfect thing, and He's always after you. He's like that deer that's panting for the water, and his soul is so hungry for you. He loves you always, all the time. He's always for you. He's never against you.
Right.
And what happens to so many
right.
people, they fall from grace. What does that mean? They fall back into self-performance, self-effort, trying to make it happen on their own. They're dependent upon self rather than being dependent upon God. And God can't help you when you depend more on you than you depend on Him. But wherever you are in your life, when you depend on God, He'll show up and do some awesome things in your life, just like He did with Walt, and wrap you up and love on you and be there for you.
Two school staff members say they were fired for voicing concerns after they were told to begin calling a 6-year-old girl a new name and refer to her as a boy.
When requested by a parent in the manager to call a transgender child by the child's new name, Madeline does not follow instructions. And that's when I said, this is what this whole thing is about.
Joining us today is Madeline, who made headlines when she got fired from her job for refusing to refer to a little girl as a boy.
And after a conversation with the owner first and then the director afterwards, they tried to press me into doing it, and I refused, again on a phone call. And so I came in the weekend, went through the weekend, and that Monday morning when I came in, I had like a bunch of write-ups. And at the bottom of the write-up, it said, refuse to call her a him. The next day, I was eventually fired behind the situation.
You don't want to miss this.